Welcome, folks. This session is being recorded so you can view it at a later time for your convenience. We also want to remind folks about our Q&A feature that is right here at the bottom of your screen. The Q&A feature will enable you to ask questions for our panelists and our presenters for today. We please ask that you do not share any personal information. You can submit questions anonymously, and we will address as many questions as we can towards the end of our session. And thank you so much for welcoming us into your homes today, wherever you are at. We know it's Friday, and we're so excited to be here and be part of a resource for you. My name is Claudia Martinez. I am the Assistant Director at the Raza Resource Center here at UC San Diego. And today we have a very exciting panelist group for you all to talk about the living and learning and research at UCSD. UCSD is an R1 institution. It focuses heavily on research, and it has also now combined academic work with living on campus. And so students have a much wider range of being engaged with faculty members and with other folks that they identify with on campus. And so to kick us off about the living and learning opportunities on campus, I would like to introduce you to Doctora Rosado.
Hi, y'all. Welcome. I'm excited to share space with you all today. I'm here to talk to you about our living learning communities and why it is important to live at UCSD and on campus. Is there a next slide? Thank you. So I think one of the main three components that you should take with you why it is important to live on campus is the experience. You get to experience UC San Diego's college life. You're immersed in it. You're part of the community. You're able to share space with other individuals that come from various different backgrounds into one location. And that's really exciting, especially when you're trying to build new relationships and networks. And also to living on campus. Being able to live on campus is something amazing. It's a one-time experience. I know that if folks come onto campus, they don't really know what to expect and what that experience is going to be like. It's one and only, something that no one will ever be able to take away from you. And some of the benefits that come with that is you get academic support and the resources. They're local, they're on campus. You just walk away, a shuttle away, a bike away. You have access to all of the resources here that UCSD has to offer. There's also many sponsored events that you can be a part of, ranging from different activities to rec, to studying abroad. You have all of those chances and opportunities to be part of that, especially if you're here. Not saying that if you don't live on campus, you don't, but it's just a different experience. You're able to have that shared experience with other individuals who live here with you on campus. Also, too, it exposes you to leadership opportunities to get involved, to work on campus. One of the cool things is that the folks, if you do get a job on campus, the staff that you are a part of and work with, they're very supportive with your education, and they know that you're a student first. So they're always willing to work with you if you work on campus. And getting involved, there's a lot of opportunities with that, transferable skills that you'll be able to gain when being exposed in organizations, being part of that, doing community service. It's very important, and it's a big part of being integrated into UC San Diego's living community. Also, too, you get an opportunity to network with faculty, peers, and staff. That's something that is really integral to the part as you come in or planning to go to the university. Even now, if you are in high school or middle school, you start talking to the teachers, because those are the folks that are going to help you get into college. And even, believe it or not, once you get into college, it doesn't stop there. You get to know your professors, the staff, your peers, because those are the folks that are going to help you get to the next level, whether you need a reference for a position, a job, if you are planning to go to graduate school, all of that. So that's really part, and it's really huge about networking here on campus. One cool thing is that if you do live on campus, there's no commuting time. You don't have to find parking. You don't really have to worry about traveling 30 minutes, waking up extra early. There's a lot of students that just end up rolling out of bed and going to class. That's an experience that they have. They'll go into pajamas. No one will say anything, right? It's your experience, and you navigate that. So there's really not much time in terms of your commute. Maybe a walk away, maybe a bike ride away, a shuttle away. But everything is here at your tips. Community building. I think when you are here with other folks who are having the shared experience like you, You build those long-lasting relationships with everybody. And that's really important because those folks are the ones that you're gonna make friendships, you're gonna find maybe connections with to find job opportunities or experience new things that you never thought you would be exposed to. Maybe traveling abroad, maybe going around campus and exploring the beach here locally, whatever that may be. But those are all the memories that you'll be able to create here at UCSD with other folks who are in the same position with you and are sharing the same experience that you are. So being part of that and the social life is also a huge part of your own development and student development when being here. Also too, we're talking about the living learning communities today, which are very specialized communities that we have that you are able to be a part of if you come to campus. Next slide, please. UC San Diego is committed to creating spaces with diverse populations. And so we've created these living learning communities where they have strengthened and developed our students in a way that are based on some identities that are very salient to them and help them connect academically and socially based on certain characteristics. And so these locations are actually, these living learning communities are located within our 7 residential colleges. And so, for instance, you're going to hear today a little bit more about the Raza Living Learning Community from one of our students. But I also wanted to let you all know that we also have learning living communities from other identities, the African Black diaspora, which is housed at 6 College. The LGBTQI living learning community, which is Muir College, is the residential area that I get to oversee. And the Raza Living Learning Community at ERC. If you want to be part of these communities, you can be affiliated with a college, but then you will reside in one of the living learning communities and be part of that college experience as well. So you have an array of opportunities to build community, to share space, and be able to bring a part of who you are and your identity to the community that you will be a new member of. So thank you.
Absolutely, Doctora Rosado. And it's so important, right, to be able to be amongst the folks that you identify with and be able to learn from them. Much of the learning that happens on college campuses is actually outside of the classroom. We learn all of the tech stuff in the classroom, and then we go back into the areas where we live on campus, and then we dissect it, we talk about it, we amplify it, how it presents itself in our lives. So there's so many benefits to living on campus. And I want to introduce you all now to a student who has lived on the Raza Living and Learning Community, Eddie Pintado. So Eddie is going to talk to you all about his experience living at ERC.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I want to start off with just saying that I completely detest with Dr. Rosado and Claudia. Living on campus was definitely an experience that was unforgettable. I went to a public high school here in Chula Vista, California. For those of you not familiar, it's part of the South Bay area. And one evening, I believe, a little shortly after I got admitted into UCSD, I had planned on residing on campus, and I received an email to apply to the Raza Resource, sorry, not the Raza Resource Centro, the Raza Learning Living Community. And I was actually pretty intrigued by it just because it was solely targeted towards wanting to find that sort of family on campus through the Latino community. And I do not regret it one bit. I applied, super easy application. They ask you like 3 or 4 questions that just want to know more about you. There's no specific requirements. You don't need a high GPA or anything. All you need to do is live on campus and be interested in joining. Fortunately, I was am an ERC student, so it was convenient for me in that area. And but overall, I think it's been a fascinating experience since I met different people of different backgrounds. Currently, where I reside and where I grew up in high school, everybody was just either like Mexican, but it was nice going to like campus and meeting, people Bolivian, part Peruvian, part Colombian. So I thought that was pretty fascinating. But everything that both the previous speakers mentioned, I can detest. It's been amazing. Please feel free if you have any questions to ask. That's what I'm here for. I believe there's a Q&A right here.
Yes,
okay, perfect.
those questions towards the end.
Okay, perfect. Well, I thank you. Thank everybody for coming out today. It is a Friday evening, but I'll be here for any questions to be asked towards the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. Yes, please keep sending in your questions. It just allows us to compile them all together. And then that way, if there's a few repeats, we can ask them all at the end. So we've talked about living on campus, right? And the living and learning communities. So you're not just living on campus, you can also choose to live with folks that you may identify with. Now let's talk about the other side about UCSD, which is the research part. Like I mentioned, UCSD is an R1, Research 1 institution. It's a well-known university across the world, rated in the top. So I want to introduce now Dr. Farkowski to talk about what is research? Why should we do it?
Can you turn on my video? Okay, there we go. Start my video. Excellent. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here and talk to you today. My name is Dr. Eduardo Farkowski. I was born and grew up here in San Diego. I attended Gomper Secondary down by Euclid and Encanto. I attended UCSD and I graduated in 2002 from UCSD. I was part of an outreach program when I was in 9th grade, and I was able to get involved in doing research early on in my academic years when I was in high school, starting high school. I came to UCSD, I fell in love with it. I started doing research here. I came every summer, engaged in research at the School of Medicine. This is where I work here on the Health Sciences campus. I'm a professor of clinical pharmacy in the SCAG School of Pharmacy over in the Health Sciences. We have a medical school and a pharmacy school, top medical, top pharmacy school and research institutions in the world. I run the, go to the next slide, please. So yeah, this is me when I was in high school. And I was part of a program called CHUM. And through this program, I was able to come to campus, like I mentioned, and I was able to engage in research in various labs. I am now the director of the Research Methodology Training Laboratory Program, which runs this program. So we have opportunities for high school, middle school, high school, and community college students and undergraduate students here on campus. So if you're interested in learning about science and you are really, drawn to research or even medicine or pharmacy, like pharmacology, contact us. So this is me back in 1997, getting ready to graduate. This is me as being a senior. Like I said, I grew up in the Encanto community. My family, I came from a poor family and lots of drama in the household. So I decided I'm gonna go to live on campus. I love living on campus. It was very flexible for me. I was able to focus on my studies. I was able to do research all throughout my undergraduate. I was doing research. I would wake up, go to the lab, then go to my class, go back to the lab, and it was exciting. I learned a lot. I grew a lot. And I was so fortunate that UCSD was able to provide all this training and learning that really contributed to my success. So after I graduated from UCSD, I went to UCSF School of Pharmacy, where I graduated with my Doctor of Pharmacy degree. I came back after I finished my 4 years for a Doctor of Pharmacy degree and did a 3-year postdoctoral research fellowship in medicine and at UCSD. And then shortly after, I got hired as a faculty. So I've done a lot of research work, published several papers. It's very exciting. It's always science. It's always one of those things that, really builds character in you. It helps you to address problems, address life in a certain way, like doing a scientific way where you just kind of ask a question and try to solve it, right? And so if you can go to the next slide, please. I'm also the pharmacy director for the UCSD student-run free clinics. We offer free prescription and pharmacy care services to the community. These are my students. They're all filling prescriptions. We fill prescriptions and give the prescriptions to the homeless and uninsured patients in San Diego. I wanted to get back to my research methodology training laboratory, which is part of the Hispanic Centers of Excellence on the Health Sciences. If you're not aware of this program, I want you to go to the website. It's called rmtlacademy.org. That's rmtlacademy.org. If you're in middle school, if you're in high school, or if you're in community college, or even an undergrad at UCSD, we have a research training program. For our middle school, we have a science introduction program that's over the summer. And also for high school students, we have an introduction to microbiology course. And then we also have a research intensive training course that we offer during the summer. So if you are interested, applications are going to be for the summer will come out sometime in May. So keep in touch. And I really hope to get to work with you this summer. And you'll be on campus. You'll be, in the lab, working along with other students. You'll be we'll be doing tours of the campus. You'll be learning about this wonderful institution and all the opportunities that are available, and visiting all the different parts of the campus. But I just want to briefly talk about the lab and what you learn in the experience. So basically, the students that participate in my lab, they end up getting a certificate as a laboratory assistant at the completion of 40 hours of training. And a lot of the things you learn here are going to help you in school. Whether you're in high school, they'll help you in your science courses, whether you're in community college, the same. And so it's a pretty nifty lab. You're doing research. And so a lot of students that come out of this program are really encouraged to pursue careers in science or in medicine. So once again, please visit the website at the rmtlacademy.org. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Farkowski. And it's so different to hear it directly from someone who's like super involved. When I first heard the word research, I'm a first generation student. I'm an immigrant, and that sounded like so out of my league. It sounded like something that was so foreign and like, So thank you so much for breaking it down for us. And what we have now is Mariana Carola, who is actually a student at UCSD. And she is going to talk to us about her experience in doing research. So we could please go to the next slide. And what research is she doing, and how has research benefited her career? Take it away, Mariana.
Hi everyone, my name is Mariana. My pronouns are she and her. I'm double majoring in education studies and public health. I first got involved in research in my sophomore year of college, and I'm very glad that I did because it gave me a lot of time to develop and strengthen my research skills. Starting my second year of college, it gave me the opportunity to also pursue numerous research projects while I was in undergrad. The research that I do is in the field of education, and it's related to the experiences of Chicanx and Latinx students in higher ed. My goal is to help inform policymakers, educators, and other stakeholders about what the experiences of Chicanx and Latinx students are, and what are the ways the institution can support their academic success. So getting involved in research opportunities has allowed me to build relationships with faculty and has increased my sense of belonging in academia, and it made me think about pursuing a graduate school pathway for myself. So I didn't come to UCSD because of the research opportunities, but I'm very lucky to be at the institution where students do have a lot of opportunities to engage in research. Like Claudia mentioned, I'm also a first generation student. So when I heard research, I was like, I don't know what that is. I don't know if I could do that. But I'm glad that I was able to engage in it in many ways. And the cool part about UCSD is that there are so many opportunities to get involved and to develop projects of your own. And a lot of times they are funded. And this has played a critical role in my involvement in research because I was able to access funded research opportunities as an undocumented student. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mariana. Funded research, right? Sometimes things that should be obvious that we don't know about, and that we only find out when we get there. And I'm so glad that Mariana shared her story, because very different from Dr. Farkowski. Dr. Farkowski is in the sciences, and Mariana is doing research more on Chicanx studies or Latina. I'm sorry if I got that wrong, Mariana, but it's more the humanities side is what I'm trying to say. And so research is not only applied to a certain area that we usually automatically think about, it can be applied in multiple dimensions and in multiple disciplines. And we see all of your questions coming in. We're so excited for that. So just a reminder to go ahead and please submit those at the bottom. We're going to go through as many as we can. Just don't share any personal information, and you can submit them anonymously. And so we do have a few right here that I am ready to share with our panelists. And the first one, I would like to perhaps maybe Eddie or Dr. Rosado could answer. The question is, if you like to live on the Raza living community, does that mean you have to attend ERC college, even if you want to be in another college? That's a very good question.
So that is actually, no. So you can be affiliated at Muir College, say that's your college of registration, but you are really interested in living in the Raza Living Learning community, you could definitely do that. So when you're applying for your housing, there'll be some questions that will ask you if you're interested in that. And if so, then we will get those applications. So ERC will get those applications even though you are a Muir College registered student. You will attend, your classes as normal, everything else. I think the beauty of that is that you'll now sort of be affiliated with two colleges for two different reasons. So I say sometimes that's exciting. With it, like the LGBT living learning community and the African American diaspora community, we get a lot of students that are not even Muir College residents. They're from all of the other colleges, and that makes also an interesting dynamic in our communities because we get to see students from other areas that we normally would not if they were not part of that program. So we encourage that. It's actually an awesome experience, and that will add to your social life.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Rosado. And Eddie, one of the questions that came in is, does ERC, because it has a living and learning community, does it have a large Latino community as part of their residency, or actually in the college in general?
As far as I remember, specific to the learning living community, there were, I guess, like a high number of Latinos involved. There were a small percentage though of folks who wanted to increase their personal diversity. That was what their excuse was. They had said, oh, you know what, I don't identify as Latino, but I wanted to meet different types of people since I didn't really have that opportunity in high school. But in terms of ERC itself, I wouldn't be able to confirm or deny a certain demographic that I've noticed just because there's so many people. So I really wouldn't be able to be like, oh yeah, there's this many percent. I don't know where they have the actual statistic, the demographics of our campus or certain colleges, but I know that the school itself has demographics online.
I would like to add something real quick too. So even though what's been really awesome with the LLCs is that if people are part of it, right, you're registered, but we've also had this concept, I don't know about you, Eduardo, but we'll adopt folks even though they're not part of the program because they want to be part of the program. So we don't discourage people. So if people want to informally after, because it's an exciting community and people didn't know or they don't want to miss out, and we have the capacity to do that, we will definitely go and encourage that, because then the following year, guess what? You're going to want to be part of that community because you've built those connections and those relationships and you've networked with other people. So we do that informally, at least at Muir. But if you're looking for numbers too, the ADRLs and directors should be able to have that breakdown too for future if we need that information.
Thank you both so much. And the thing is that folks also self-identify themselves, right? And or they see other reasons why they want to be part of the community. And so one of the questions is, are Brazilians in the Raza community? The answer is they could be, right? I don't have a breakdown of the demographics in front of me. It's a self-selection. You're choosing to be there. You're choosing to not be there. And so it is definitely a mixture of folks, because whoever feels like they are being seen or identified with that particular community, they're invited and encouraged to apply and live together. Absolutely. One of the questions that I had actually for Dr. Farkowski and for Mariana is, so you both talked about research, and you especially, Mariana, you mentioned briefly about, you know, your first gen, and you didn't even know what research was. How do you even know if you want to do research? Like, you get to campus and you're like, this sounds so foreign, but obviously students eventually find their way. How do I know, or how do students know that they want to do that?
Okay. Thank you for that question. Can you see me? So I think there are many ways to get involved, but my pathway was like just sitting in class, and there's like classes that you like more than others, and then you hear like what the things that your professors have done, and you're like, wow, like, could I do that? And then they talk about opportunities, and just like through being curious about certain things, like I think that we all have the ability to be researchers because we all are curious about things, and pursuing our curiosities is how we can, you know, start that research involvement. Yeah.
I agree with Mariana. I think it's really important to pursue curiosity and not be afraid to engage in an area that you might feel like uncomfortable, right? I mean, I think often we look at research and we think it's perfect, that, you know, all the discoveries, and you're thinking, well, you know, I don't think I can ever do something like that, like discover a new cure or a drug. But you would, if you really think about it, that took decades sometimes, you know, to really come, and it took a lot of people working together to gather all that information. What's unique about the lab, the research methodology training laboratory where I'm at, is that this lab is for training for people who don't have no experience whatsoever. You can go in there, you can make mistakes, and you can retry the experiment until you get it right. And, you know, you work in a very supportive environment. You have the support of both the staff, myself. And so a lot of, like 60% of students that never had any research experience actually come out of there thinking, you know, that they feel like they're scientists, which is great, because it's an amazing experience when you really think like you have the skills to perform quality, you know, work in a research lab. And so that's the springboard. I always tell students, take that curiosity, take that experience, and pursue your passion, you know. And so you know, we're here to support you, and we're here to help you. And so yeah, that's all I got to say.
No, that was great. Thank you so much. And Mariana, we actually have another question for you, and then I think another one for you as well, Dr. Farkowski. We'll start with the one for Mariana. The question for you is, do you have any tips for public health majors and their research? This person is also going to be a public health major. So what do you got?
Hi, so I think one tip that I would have for you is to visit your professors during their office hours, especially, you know, those of your favorite classes, and then ask them about opportunities, and as well, like the research that they do, learning about, you know, research that professors are currently working on is also a way to get involved, because that way you don't have to start your own project if you're not ready to do so. Yeah. So definitely visit your professors and talk to them.
Absolutely, right? Those folks are usually like your entryway. And Dr. Farkowski, and I'm not sure if you're the right person to answer this, so please let me know. Is there a course where I can research in neuroscience as well as practice hands-on medicine?
I know that UCSD has a lot of different courses that, you know, that almost will fit anything you are looking into. I was a biochem major, and I took a lot of other courses in the biology department and so forth. So if I found a course that I was interested, whether it be in the Department of Psychology or Department of Biology or Chemistry, I always had the opportunity to take it as an elective. But The question is, can you repeat the question again? I just want to make sure I answer it correctly. It says neuroscience and what? And medicine, right?
Hands-on medicine.
Hands-on medicine.
Yes.
That is, I know there's a neuroscience lab, and I don't know how much medicine it's. I know there's a lot of theory and so forth that's performed, but I think that there is so much research being done on this campus. The idea is to place yourself in a position where you can join a lab that's performing neuroscience and medicine and in the health sciences, and try to get into those labs. There's amazing research being done and performed when it comes to neuroscience here, whether it be aging or Parkinson's or Alzheimer's or addiction and so forth. So you'll be surprised. There's a faculty on this campus who's doing that, and they have a lab. Now, how you go about it? Well, you need some experience, because most students, if you apply for a lab, they'll probably have you washing dishware, like labware in the beginning. And so that's why you want to get training. And unfortunately, there's very few labs, if any, that will be willing to train you. And that's why the RMTO program is so remarkable, because we will do the training. We will get you the knowledge, the skills to be able to go into a laboratory and be part of a team and be able to contribute to the research and the scientific discoveries that are being performed there. So I think it's important that you just equip yourself with the knowledge and the skills to be able to work in that type of environment. And so reach out to our program. That's what we're here for, to help you to achieve your goal. We know a lot of faculty here in the health sciences. We will find someone that's performing research that you like and try to place you in their lab.
And I know that Eddie is in a lab. Are you in a neuroscience lab?
Currently in a lab of neurocytology, so they do imaging specifically with neurons. But to specifically answer Eva's questions, in terms of a class that's research in neuroscience, do you know if, I'm pretty sure you could type another question, but be a response to my answer. In neuroscience, are you looking more from like the biological perspective? Because neuroscience itself is the study of the relation of how processing is done in the brain, versus if you're interested in actually like how neurons communicate with each other, that's considered neurobiology. So those are two different things. So it depends on what you'd like specifically. And in terms of hands-on medicine, there isn't any sort of like, I guess like medicinal practice that you can do, just because there are certification liabilities in terms of medicine. But I am part of an organization called International Health Collective, and I don't know if I could leave a link or anything, but there is a website if you want to search it now. And what we do is we do holistic care and any sort of light, I guess like we'll do like taking a blood pressure or just like listening to BPM. But and we do that through the community, specifically in Tijuana. So if you're interested in that, I'll find out a way to get that information to you.
Thank you. And folks, we're slowly coming to our end. So if there's any last few questions, please submit them, because we are getting close to time. One of the questions is directed towards admissions. Is it a good or bad idea to own a car while living on campus?
So currently, we do not allow first-year students to bring a vehicle on campus, but transfer students are allowed to bring a vehicle on campus. But we do have the transportation system on campus that allows students to go outside into the city of San Diego. So there's various transportation options for students to utilize once they're here on campus. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Doctora Rosado, a question. It's about delivering learning communities and the meal plans. Are the meal plan menus aligned with the living communities? I'm not exactly sure about what they mean by menus. Maybe, are we talking about like foods that are related to the community itself?
I'm thinking that might be it, and no, I'm sorry to say that it's not something, but I think what we can say is, and Eduardo probably can second that since they've been part of the community, is there's events that are hosted around cultural, your culture and identity and food. And so that would be something that folks would get around together and talk and share story about themselves through their cultural foods and what, you know, brings them together. I know that there's events around that, and whatever event that is happening, they will provide that. But in the dining halls, I mean, sometimes they do, like they'll have housing and dining and hospitality, which is HDH, which are the dining halls, because you all have access to that. I forgot to mention that during my section, is they host events. I know that Warren College, with the help of HDH, they host like a Dia de los Muertos all like university event. And so they have all the cultural foods like tamales, they'll have churros, they'll have flan, they'll have, you know, whatever is on the menu in regards to that. And so, but it's not something that because you are part of the LLC, that will end up pertaining to the food. But there might be certain areas that you go around campus that they may offer that food. I know there's a taco shop on campus. I don't know the name. I apologize for that, but there is, and so you could be able to get those cravings if you have them through the taco shop. A taste of that, I mean.
Thank you. One of the questions that we have is, and I think admissions can help us learn a little bit more about how do students choose their colleges and whatnot. The question is, can you only be part of ERC if you live on campus? Can you be part of it if you live off campus? And so perhaps breaking it down how the college system works.
I can take that question. So when students apply their senior year or as a transfer student, they will have to rank the 7 colleges in order of preference in the UC application. Once they apply, admissions will admit them into their major and into their college. We try not to go beyond their 3rd choice, but definitely keep in mind when you're ranking the colleges, you want to look at their philosophy, their general ed courses. Definitely visit the admissions.ucsd.edu website for more information on the specific colleges. But yes, you can be part of any of the social events that happen at any of the 7 colleges. You will not just be in one college. So think of it like Disneyland and how they have all their different theme parks. So you're going to be on campus, but can definitely go anywhere around the campus and events. And, there's like traditions that each of the colleges have, like watermelon drop, the pumpkin drop, festivals like the chocolate festival at 6th College, which I've never gone to, but heard it's awesome. So there's so many different traditions that the 7 colleges have, and students interact among each other. So it's definitely, not something that you can't be a part of. So encourage students to look at those options.
Thank you. So one of the questions, and I will take this question myself, is can you be a part of the Rasa community if you live on campus? Can you be a part of it if you live off campus? So the question is yes to both things, because if you are living on campus and you are interested in being part of the Rasa Living and Learning community, then you would do what Dr. Rosado said. You apply through ERC and whatnot. You do not have to be an ERC student. They will adopt you in the whole thing. And if you live off campus and you identify under the Latinx umbrella, there is the Rasa Resource Center, which is where I work, which is a community space that has nothing to do with living on campus. And our main goal and mission is to serve the Latinx students on campus. We have a physical space, obviously because of COVID, it's currently closed, but usually folks come, hang out, they study. We have a conference room, we have a library, we have coffee, pan dulce, we do cultural celebrations, we do awareness programs, we do our own little like academic hub and things like that. So that's why the answer to that question of do you only have to be living on campus or off campus, the question is yes and no. You could be living on campus and be part of the Rasa Living and Learning community and still utilize the Centro. And if you live off campus, just come and utilize the Centro. And it still doesn't mean that you can't make friends who live on the Raza Living and Learning community and then just join them for other stuff. This question is for Dr. Farkowski. Any research projects that intersect two disciplines, like for example, biology and engineering, do those exist?
I'm not aware of any project that, I'm sure they probably exist at some level. I know at the graduate level they do. At the undergraduate level, I'm not certain. We do have partnerships with the School of Engineering, and so there is opportunity to engage in projects in some of the engineering labs there. But remember, we have different forms of engineering too. You know, we have chemistry engineering and also computer science and so forth. So yeah, that question is there something more specific that they were asking?
I think the question is, can you just intersect two disciplines? And their example was biology and engineering.
Mm-hmm. So yes, so I mean, there is a major, right? The bioengineering program. So there you go. So, but it's sort of its own program. Kind of independent from the biology department. So I guess, yes, the answer would be yes. There are programs in the engineering program that cross section two different fields.
Awesome, thank you. And our last question, and you know, Eddie, you're also now currently living off campus. Perhaps you can help me answer this, is students that live off campus, do they still have the same benefits and access to resources to the students who live on campus? And I want to start off by saying you're a student at UCSD. So that means that you come with all of, I mean, whether you live off campus or on campus, you're still getting the whole package, right? Obviously, if you're living off campus, you're not living in the residence hall. So that's the only thing that you may be missing. But you're a student at the end of the day. So you come with, we give you the whole shebang, just like everybody else. Eddie?
Yeah, I can definitely start off by saying that it follows you wherever you go. Like it's being a student, it's like something that's always on the back of your mind. And this is, do you still have the access to all benefits? Oh, okay, Selena's question. Yeah, you do. And fortunately, because everything has been shifted online, the benefits have gotten more, I guess, like abundant, specifically because people that wouldn't normally be emailing you are emailing you. People from different orgs on campus. It's so interesting how they're reaching out as much now. And so I think, especially now, there are more benefits that you still have access to. But even if I were in the situation now that I did have to commute and am living off campus, if it weren't COVID, then the benefits of living on campus are just as the same as living off campus. There's no difference. Just stay in constant communication and knowing that that they'll always be there for you. There's always an email or a number for you to reach out to.
Thank you. And we are running out of time. So thank you to folks who submitted questions, and we try to do our best to go through all of them and to filter them and whatnot. If you have more questions, please feel free to contact admissions. And if they know the answer, they'll get back to you, and or they'll send it over to one of us, and then we'll get back to you. We do have another webinar coming up at 6 that is titled Supporting Latinx Students. So it's another panel, and it composes of folks who self-identify as Latinx who are currently staff, faculty, or student, and how are they being supported on campus, and how do they support our student population on campus. Thank you so much to our panelists. Thank you to all of you for being here with us today. And buenas noches.
Good night.